Hi guys, it's Darlene from Couture. I wanted to be able to do this earlier, but my day has just been so busy. It's hard coming back from vacation and getting everything done. So I'm going to go ahead and do this as a YouTube tutorial instead. I'm going to do the homespun flag on here. This is just a board that I've cut out. It is made from 1/4 inch Baltic birch plywood. I cut it with my laser. I cut the holes out with the laser. And I'm going to do the flag. I'm going to start over here and then I'm going to continue the stripes over here. I'll just flip it and I'll do the stripes separately. Then I'm going to put thank you on there. And I've cut out 5 dog tags. And I've painted these with acrylic paint. I used Americana. I used the Snow White for this, and I used Slate Gray for the dog tags. So I just painted it, I sanded it, and then I waxed it. You will want to wax your surface if it is painted so that your transfer does not stick to the paint and pull it up. Sometimes it will stick to your transfer and the paint will actually adhere to the back of the transfer. So I have all these guys ready. I have my chalk paste all stirred up. This is our Liberty Blue, Candy Apple Red. You want these to be the consistency of sour cream or yogurt. This is Bumblebee. This one is Midnight Sky. I have only used this one other time and it took me forever to stir it up. It had thickened up a lot. So there's still some little lumps in there, but I'm going to be really careful. I'm going to make sure that I press all of those lumps out. And then this is our Bright White. And then our Black Velvet. This is the Super Stash. So this is 8 ounces. These are all 3-ounce jars. So I'm going to get ready to do this. I'm going to set this to the side. The ones that have not been used before, I'm going to fuzz them, and I like to press the corners under so it's easier to remove them from my surface. So for this, I'm going to need my Liberty Blue, and then I'm going to use my my red, my Candy Apple Red. I'm going to peel this off the backer sheet. These are a silkscreen transfer. The backer sheet is shiny on this side. The other side is a matte finish. I'm going to lay this down onto my piece of wood here. And I am going to press this down, make sure that it's nice and tight and no air bubbles. You want this to adhere tightly to your surface so that you don't get any chalk paste underneath of that. You don't want to hear it moving when you do your chalk paste on there and you squeegee it. So the little dots right here where these are registration marks, I don't want those to be on my sign. So I'm going to put some blue painter's tape over that. They have them on both sides. Alright, so I'm going to start with this. This is Liberty Blue. And I think I'm going to mask this also so I don't go into that area there. So I have this all masked off and it should be fine. I'm going to go ahead and use my Liberty Blue on this. I'm going to use a squeegee. I'm going to spread this and then I will squeegee off the excess. If you hold your squeegee kind of at an angle and press, you can spread and scrape at the same time. And I usually like to do it either side to side or top to bottom. I don't like to change directions and have the transfer move. going to put the excess back into my jar, and I do need to go like this and get my lines out of there. I'm going to make sure that I've removed all of the excess, and then I'm going to peel this side up so it doesn't dry on the transfer. I'm going to put this onto a paper towel. So we always need lots of paper towels when we're working on this. I'm going to go ahead and peel this up. Okay, and all those little dots that are in there, those are supposed to be there. That is part of the transfer. I'm going to gently peel this up. I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to lift the transfer. You want this to stay adhered down tightly. I'm going to make sure that it's not going to move when we go ahead and we do our red stripes. So it feels like there's an air bubble in there, so I'm just kind of working that area. I want to make sure that there aren't any air bubbles. Don't want our stripes to be all uneven. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so I'm going to put some of our candy apple red on here. This will take probably quite a bit. This is a big area for the stripes. I'm going to use our 4-inch handle squeegee. I'm going to start from this direction and pull this way. So I just want to make sure that I get this all filled and get it squeegeed off of here before it dries. So I'm going to work this in the stripes, and then I'm going to scrape and put the excess back into the jar. So I saw that move as I'm doing that. I'm not too happy that it moved, but I'm just going to press it back down. That way, hopefully we will not have a big air bubble pocket there. Hopefully our stripes will be even, but you know what? We're not going to cry if they're not. That's okay. We will be fine. If it's a little rustic, that's okay. I'm going to put the excess back into our jar. It's harder on an area that is a big open area like that. It does have more of a possibility of moving on you. So I'm going to pull this off, and we want to be able to line this up down here. We want to do the rest of our stripes. Okay, it doesn't look bad. It has just one little squiggle right there. So we're fine with that. We're going to peel this up, and then I want to be able to continue this. I'm going to slide this off the edge here. I want to be able to continue this right here. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to dry that really quickly. Let's just set that right there. And we're going to dry just the edge right there. I'm going to return it to room temperature. I just have it on air now. Okay, so we want to kind of overlap this and have this line up right like that, and get our stripes. We want to stop though, so what we're going to do is we are going to press our air bubbles out, and then I'm going to put some blue painter's tape down here. So we don't want to go all the way to the edge. We're going to stop about right there, because on the other side we also have a little bit of a gap. So I think that's probably going to be good right there. Okay. Hoping for the best. Okay. Let's hope that this is going to work, that our stripes will join up. Okay, I'm gonna just hold this. I can hear it moving. This is not the best way to do this. But I needed the board to be that long because that is how many dog tags I had. So we're not going to worry if it's not perfect. I like rustic, so it will be fine. I want to try to fill that in. I want to use some of the paste that's on the squeegee. Okay. All right. Okay, I can see right here it's not quite joined. All right. Let's hope. Let's see what we got. Okay. It's not that dark. Maybe we need a little bit more on here. It's not as dark as the other, but it might just be because it's wet. Okay, so I don't want to mess it up. It could be just because it's still wet. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and dry that. I think it's gonna be fine once it's dry. We'll put this into a water bath. I'm gonna get the blue painter's tape off of it. All right, wanted to make sure that got into the water bath. I just folded that in half. And now I'm gonna dry this and let's see how it does. It should be okay. Okay, so it darkened up a little bit. And I probably could just go like this and just get a little bit more on there. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just leave it. All right, so I am not gonna worry about that. We're just gonna let it be. We're gonna put the words over that anyways. So we will have our thank you will be right here, and it'll kind of distract from that. It's not perfect, that's okay. We are not gonna worry about that. People will be focusing on this. I'm gonna put this into my water bath to get all of that off. I could scrape this first. Let's go ahead and scrape that, but it has some that's dried on it, so I'm gonna get that in the water bath. Okay, so now we just need to, well, let's make all the dog tags while this is drying. We're gonna put that right in there. We'll use the black, and we are gonna do the dog tags one at a time. So we have, the center one is going to be, okay, so we have bumblebee, bumblebee, bumblebee. We have our navy blue, which is the midnight, and then we're going to use white. So let's go ahead and let's do the ones that are different first. So I'm going to peel this off my backer sheet. I'm going to fuzz it on my towel here. Just going to fuzz it one time. Going to get this centered on here somewhat. And I am going to try to get that a little bit better. It's hard to see. All right, so I'm going to press out all my air bubbles. This one is going to be our midnight sky. So this one is for navy. I'm going to take my squeegee. There are some lumps in this, but no big deal. I am going to press them all out. They are disappearing because if you just press, they will basically dissolve. It's from me not using it. I've used it one time, and so it's sat there for months, for 6 months, and not been used. It's not a color that I use a lot of, so that is why it's that way. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna peel this. I'm gonna peel from side to side. Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly how I want it to be. I'm gonna put this into my water bath. All right, so next, so that was Air Force. That one's Air Force. This one is Navy. I'm gonna peel this off of here. Gonna fuzz it on my fuzzing cloth. You can use a regular towel. You do not need to have a fuzzing cloth. Gonna press that right there. Gonna use bright white. Could have used another color. I could have used the navy blue maybe. It was hard to decide on what colors to use. I wanted to have this kind of be varied, so I was trying to look at all of the patches and make decisions on what to do. It's not exact. I really would have liked to have had burgundy for my marine one, but we actually don't have a burgundy, and I am too tired to sit here and mix my colors, so we are just going to do it the bumblebee. So these are all going to be bumblebee. I'm going to put this into my water bath. And so now I have, these three are all going to be bumblebee. This is our army one. Now I could have done it, part of it yellow and part green, but we're just going to do it all yellow. That will be fine. We'll use, yeah, this will work. So I have my small squeegees here, and this one has some lumps in it too from being opened at the craft show for 3 days straight, basically. Well, it was closed at night, but it was open all the time. So I have a few lumps. I'm just pressing them out. They just dissolve, no big deal. I'm going to put the excess back into my jar. Squeegee all that off because you can use that for the next one. We don't need to waste that. You want it nice and smooth so that when you pull this, it's nice and smooth underneath. Look at how crisp that is. You can't do that with just a stencil. It just doesn't work. All right. I feel bad that I didn't have this done earlier and do it as a live, but you know what? It's hard sometimes when you come home from your vacation. Sometimes it can just be a little difficult. All right, I think that's okay. Seems a little high, but we're just gonna go with that. Just gonna spoon a little bit of that on there. Gonna smooth it out with the squeegee. You're spreading that, putting that down through the silk screen. And these silk screens are reusable. Corporate says 8 to 12 times. It really depends on how you take care of them. So you're gonna clean it right away. You're gonna make sure that you get it into a water bath so the chalk paste doesn't dry in the silk screen. You're going to wash it with a Clorox wipe and then let it dry before you put it back onto your transfer sheet. So the more diligent you are about taking care of them, the longer they will last you. This one is the Coast Guard. I had to look this up because I wasn't quite sure. I'm familiar with all of the other ones, but the Coast Guard one, I wasn't, there's anchors on it, but I wanted to be 100% sure before I told you guys. All right, oops, a little bit crooked, so take your time. Just get it the way you want it to be. Press all of your air bubbles out. Take your chalk paste, put a little bit down, and then you're gonna spread it. So it's a really simple process. Doesn't take a lot of skill. Honestly, it doesn't. Children can do this. Senior citizens can do this. It is not difficult at all. So I'm just squeegeeing off the excess, putting it back into my jar, making sure that we don't waste it. Gonna pull the transfer. You always pull top to bottom or side to side. You have a perfect image right there. All right, so those are all done. Getting that into my water bath. That would have been perfect in burgundy. Darn. All right, well, it is what it is. We do not have burgundy. We have one that's, this is what we have. So this is what I had to choose from. So we have currant jam, and then I have one that is brick, and then I have red. And I didn't think that they would make a burgundy. I just didn't think that it would look right. So maybe this fall they will come out with burgundy. That would be nice. Okay, so you know what? I'm looking at this and it is not perfect. That is okay. We're not gonna worry about it. We're gonna just keep going. You know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. Life is not perfect. This is going over the other chalk paste, so there's a couple of things that I want to do. I'm going to fuzz this 6 times. I'm also going to take the rag that I used when I waxed this. I just used this old rag. I'm wiping that on here to just kind of put a little bit of chalk paste right in there, or I'm sorry, a little bit of wax right in there, just to kind of coat that so that this does not pull up. We want this to stand out. We're going to do this in black, and I think that's a good angle, just right like that. So we're going to put this down, and then I'm going to grab a squeegee and just going to spread. If you hold it at that angle like I told you and press it, you can spread and scrape at the same time. I'm going to put that into my jar. I'm going to go back and make sure that it's nice and smooth. Get all the rest of that off. And then we're going to pull our transfer. I'm going to go side to side on this one. I'm going to do it slowly. Don't want to pull up any of that red paint. And there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are so grateful for the service of our military, for protecting us, and for giving their lives for us. It's one of those things that sometimes we just don't think about, the sacrifice the families make too. It's not easy to have your husband, your brother, your son go away and not know if they're going to come back. Know that they're out there and they're protecting us, and you know, you're trusting in God that they're going to be safe and they're going to come back. So we are so grateful for what they do. Clean up my mess here. I'm going to tie these on. I thought it'd be really cute to use jute to just tie this. So that's what I'm going to do. This is drying here, so I'm going to be careful. I am just going to thread this through, and then I'm going to tie this, and I am going to cut it. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It is simply going to be a knot. So I'm just tying it in a square knot basically. And then I'm going to trim each one down. And it's just going to hang like that. So all of them are going to be just like that. Each one's going to be tied. And then on the back of this, I will put one of the sawtooth hangers. So let's go ahead and we'll get all of this on there, and I'll show you how to do that. And actually, I think I may have to put 2 sawtooth hangers because it's going to be a little bit more heavy, and I don't want it to sit crooked. So I'm just making sure those are tight. Blow off all the little stuff. Oh my goodness. This is going to be super cute. This probably takes longer than the chalk paste part. Let's get this tied, and then I will get the sawtooth hangers, and I'll show you how to do that. And this should be dry by then. Yeah, it's getting dry. It's still a little damp, but we'll be fine. We'll flip it over to do the sawtooth hanger. So this is just jute that is cut to length. I just kind of guessed on what the length would be, and just tying a knot, cutting it. Gonna just have those hang, and then on the back I'm gonna have the sawtooth hanger so I can hang it on the wall. And this will be a great Memorial Day tribute. Okay, let me grab those sawtooth hangers. Okay, so this way I can show you how I do this. I'm gonna blow off all of the excess stuff. We have all of this little stuff from the jute. I'm gonna put this on the back. All right, so we're gonna do 2. I'm gonna do 1 on this side, 1 on this side. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make a little puddle with this. You're gonna put it right here, right like that. So you're just making little circles of it. And then you're going to take your sawtooth hanger. It's going to go down into that, just like that. And then you're just going to kind of swirl and get this all covered. You can either take a toothpick or you can take another sawtooth hanger and use the end of that. And then you're going to let it dry overnight. So that's how that is, and then you'll just hang it from that. I'm going to flip it over so you can see it, and then I'll flip it back so it can dry. There we go. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me. Sorry it was late. That's the way life is sometimes. It can get crazy, especially after a holiday. Oh, and I see that my camera is a little bit crooked. No surprise with that. You know what? Life is just that way. So sometimes things like that happen, but no big deal. Not gonna cry. So have a good evening, and I will be talking with you again soon.